Imagine finding a wallet filled with thousands of dollars on your way home. No one is around. No cameras. No witnesses. Would you keep it or would you return it? This is the story of a young man whose single decision changed his life forever. 24-year-old Ethan lived alone in a small apartment on the edge of the city. Life had not been kind to him. A month earlier, he had lost his job when the company he worked for suddenly shut down. Every morning, he searched online for vacancies, visited offices with his resume, and waited for phone calls that never came. His savings had almost disappeared. The landlord had already warned him that if he couldn't pay the rent within a week, he would have to leave. Some nights he skipped dinner just to save enough money for breakfast the next day. Still, despite all the struggles, Ethan believed that doing the right thing always mattered. One rainy evening after another unsuccessful job interview, Ethan walked slowly through a quiet street. His shoes were soaked, and his mind was full of worries. As he reached a small park, something caught his attention. A black leather wallet lay near a bench. He looked around. The street was empty. He picked it up and opened it. His heart started racing. Inside were stacks of $100 bills, several credit cards, business cards, and an identification card. The name on the ID read Richard Hayes, one of the city's most successful businessmen. Ethan counted the cash. There was more money than he had earned in several months. For a moment, temptation took over. He imagined paying his rent, buying groceries, and starting a new life. Nobody had seen him pick up the wallet. He could simply walk away. But another thought entered his mind. What if this money belongs to someone who desperately needs it? What if losing it has already caused them pain? Ethan closed the wallet and decided to return it. Finding Richard wasn't easy. The address on the business card led to a large office building, but the receptionist explained that Richard had already left. Instead of giving up, Ethan asked if there was another way to contact him. The receptionist hesitated, but eventually called Richard's assistant. An hour later, Ethan received an address and made his way across the city. When Richard Hayes opened the door, he looked worried and exhausted. He whispered, "My wallet." Ethan handed it over without saying a word. Richard immediately checked inside. Every dollar was still there. His expression changed from fear to relief. He smiled and said, "I've been searching for this everywhere. You have no idea what this means to me." Richard pulled out several $100 bills and offered them to Ethan as a reward. Ethan smiled politely and shook his head. He said, "Thank you, sir, but I can't accept it. I only wanted to return what belongs to you." Richard looked at him with surprise. Most people would have taken the money without thinking twice. Ethan simply replied, "Doing the right thing shouldn't depend on how difficult life is." Richard invited Ethan inside for a cup of coffee. As they talked, Richard learned about Ethan's struggles, his lost job, and the endless interviews that had gone nowhere. Before Ethan left, Richard asked one final question. If someone gave you a chance today, would you be willing to work harder than anyone else? Ethan answered without hesitation, "Absolutely." The next morning, Ethan received a phone call inviting him for an interview. A week later, he was hired. Richard didn't hire him because he needed another employee. He hired him because honesty cannot be taught. Skills can be learned, but character is built through choices. Months passed. Ethan worked harder than anyone in the company. He arrived early, stayed late, treated everyone with respect, and never complained. His honesty inspired the people around him. Within 2 years, he became a manager. Within 5 years, he was leading major projects. One evening, Richard invited Ethan to dinner. He smiled and asked, "Do you remember the wallet?" Ethan laughed and said, "I'll never forget it." Richard nodded and replied, "That wallet didn't make me rich, but your honesty showed me someone I could trust with my business." Years later, Richard retired and made Ethan one of his business partners. During an interview, a reporter asked Ethan, "What was the luckiest moment of your life?" Ethan smiled for a moment before answering, "It wasn't luck, it was a choice. The day I returned a wallet instead of keeping it, I chose my future." The reporter asked, "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if you had kept the money?" Ethan looked out of the window and quietly replied, "I might have solved 1 month's problems, but I would have lost a lifetime of opportunities." The greatest rewards in life don't always come as money. Sometimes they come as trust, respect, and opportunities that money can never buy. Remember this. Your character is revealed by the decisions you make when nobody is watching. One honest choice may not change your day, but it can change your entire life.